Cast form's ability can be attributed to four main proteins: its core form protein, CFP, and three weather form proteins, WFP. A membrane-embedded protein complex detects any change in weather around cast form, and also gives it its gray color. In rain, the receptors can distinguish many droplets falling over cast form's entire body, preventing water submersion from activating the form change. This synthesizes WFPI, which eventually takes and unnoticeably dispels water. If rain continues, the protein expands with the help of other structures to form rain cast form. This mechanism prevents light splashes from causing changes. As rain stops falling, WFPI's water loss causes cast form to return normal. WFP2 detects hail and is most similar to WFPI. CFP coordinates the percussion of hail with small amounts of water uptake and activates WFP2 synthesis, which holds ice. When the external stimulus stops, so does transcription of WFP2. Finally, CFP can detect strong sunlight through a structure that is cleaved when exposed to a high intensity of UV light. This pathway causes WFP3 synthesis, which uses all but orange-red light to fuel reactions that give cast form its sunny form. As long as sunlight persists, WFP3 is created faster than it is broken down. Otherwise, cast form changes back. The initial rumor of cast form's identity was that the National Hoenn Weather Institute had been working on an artificial Pokémon, which would be able to match the weather-inducing capabilities to those of legends. The actual announcement was therefore met with a vast amount of disappointment, even though the anticipation was ill-founded to begin with. Cast form was, and still is, a meteorological marvel whose purpose is to adapt instantly to changes in its environment. This would, in turn, hopefully improve the accuracy of weather forecasts, but since cast form would only change its structure the very moment the weather did, its ability to detect and predict the weather ultimately ended up to be lackluster at best. It's nonetheless a Pokémon, and its ability to not only induce but to also thrive in severe weather conditions has earned it a specialty to hold on to. Plenty of laymen have repeatedly remarked that it lacks a customization for Sandstorm, the fourth major weather condition, but to do so would be to forget how cast form is constructed. Despite being classified as a normal type, an immense portion of its body is composed of water, which makes it very sensitive to the humidity, air pressure and radiation around it. Rain, hail, and clear skies all affect those variables, triggering a shift within its internal balance large enough to warrant a molecular reorganization. In contrast, a sandstorm is merely harsh winds whipping up debris and particles, and only forces cast form to remain in its default state to escape further harm. The greatest error in judgment to befall cast form is that it lacks a form for the presence of sandstorms. The ability due to its genetic structure would make it difficult, however recent events attempted to determine if such a form could be created. Geographically the sand form was thought to be useless as sandstorms are limited to the desert Route 111 of Hoenn. This changed dramatically during what is now called the Great Sandstorm Invasion, where numerous lavita were imported from Mount Silver to Hoenn. Aspiring trainers bought them en masse but could not control their final form. This resulted in many Tyranitar being set free, making Hoenn's weather system a bipolar nightmare. Sales of Go goggles spiked for weeks. After months of testing and modifications, all the Weather Institute was able to do was make weather ball a rock move during sandstorms. This had more to do with the fact that a large ball of air accumulating sand rather than the move-changing type. The modification was considered a massive money-consuming failure. To this day many cast form are given away to trainers that visit the Weather Institute in an attempt to boost tourism. There are no plans to update with a further form. Initial design concepts have suggested that such a form would resemble a sandcastle made by a 5-year-old child, begun around the same time as the Porygon project. The Castform project was a bizarre fusion of meteorology and genetic engineering designed to aid the Ailing Weather Institute of Hoenn in their attempt to predict the weather. While this may seem a lot of wasted time and effort to throw at a somewhat minuscule problem, it should be remembered that Hoenn is, by virtue of its regional fauna, one of the regions most greatly beset by constantly changing and extreme weather conditions. Ironically, it has been noted that any attempt to predict the weather would be a fool's errand in any case, and also that Hoenn, at that point, did not have the vast economic problems of today, and had plenty of cash to throw around. Anyway, Castform is a relatively uninteresting Pokemon. It was designed for a specific, human purpose, rather than as a biological experiment. As such, little effort was expended on its ability to survive in the wild. Rather, the bulk of the effort was concentrated on its remarkable ability to change its fundamental genetic structure with the weather, a trait that no naturally occurring Pokemon possesses. While undoubtedly a great scientific experiment, there are concerns that Castform's existence is unethical, as it is essentially useless. However, scientists behind the work point to a very recent successful colony of Castform on Unova Route 6, an area notorious for its volatile weather conditions, where Castform's abilities give it a niche like native species such as Dealing.